Brothers Talking is made possible with the financial support of Goodwill Industries of Southeastern Wisconsin and Metropolitan Chicago, and generous Chicagoans like you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Obari Cartman. Welcome to Brothers Talking, a monthly program that will bring a cross-generational group of Black men together, creating a safe and brave space for honest discussion about the challenges, opportunities, fears, and strengths of Black men. The goal of Brothers Talking is to amplify and explore the lived experiences of Black men, the pain, joy, success, and failure, and the resulting pathways for growth and self-discovery. Before we dive into updates on personal goals, let me quickly reintroduce the brothers taking this 10-month journey together. Brother Wallace Grader, Benjamin Benji Junius, Jordan Sorrell, Daniel Ash, Xavier Ramey, and Reginald Edwards. During our premiere episode, each of the brothers shared a personal goal they are working towards over our 10 months together, a goal for which they will lean into the other brothers for encouragement and support. Brothers, it's time for updates. Let's start with you, Brother Daniel. Can you remind us what your goal was and how much progress you've made since the last time?
Yes, I can do that. So my goal was, or is, I should say, is to develop sort of a new charter for this phase of life that I'm entering. You all may recall that I recently became an empty nester after raising 3 boys, and everything felt sort of uncertain. How I'm going to spend my time, what I'm going to do with myself. So to build a charter, I was able to find a therapist.
Oh, good.
To do some personal therapeutic work.
They Black?
Yeah, it's the first time I've done one-on-one therapy. I've done couples therapy before, and it's been scary but good.
No, the therapist, is the therapist Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
Black male therapist.
Oh, nice.
I will say this though, one of the therapists, they ask good questions. People like you ask good questions. Yeah. And we start exploring things in your childhood, and the therapist said to me, because I'm thinking about who am I going to be?
Yeah.
And they started asking questions, and then I'm responding, and the therapist says to me, well, Daniel, have you ever truly determined who you are? And that was in the context of me describing to them how I've always been who I've been asked to be.
Wow.
Since I was a foster kid, right? And you can go through life and perform relatively well, and being what others ascribe to you, right? And so I've been really sitting with that, right? As I sort of try to build a charter for this, my final chapters of life, and I said that plural, chapters.
Good.
Knowing who you are is absolutely essential.
Yeah.
But it's a question that we don't often have the luxury of asking ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's not too late, so I'm in the midst of that work right now.
Love it. That's beautiful. Anybody else got any updates? Progress, regress, stalemates?
My goal, as y'all know, was community law.
Yep.
And getting a lot of people in my circle, be it from the streets to the suites, to come together and push community law, which is zero tolerance for senseless violence, including domestic violence, shootings and killings, zero tolerance for the abuse and the rape of women and children, zero tolerance for the abuse and the robbery of seniors.
Yeah.
Well, since the mayor had appointed a deputy mayor, I've been able to meet with him.
Okay.
And he's in support of community law because, like I shared with him, it used to be known as public safety, but you're hearing the word now, community safety. So what I shared with them, the manifestation of community safety is if you have community law where everyone is involved with this. I don't care if you fraternity, sorority, Masonic, churches, law enforcement, everybody got to agree to those three things. Because me being a former criminal, I know that what made me realize that I was doing wrong against the community when the community came together and said, Gator, we're not gonna hide you. Here, there's certain crimes that can't happen. Now, if you in the drug business or whatever it is, we can say you ought to get a good lawyer, but you got to make the decision that you no longer want to be that. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback from County Board President Tony Prattwinkle, nice. From the mayor, and then the new superintendent. He's in support of it. So before this journey is over, hopefully I'll be doing a show on the success of it, or we may be watching the news and we hear where the mayor is saying he's in support of it and he's endorsing it, because we all have to come together.
Nice. Very good. Gators winning so far? Gators to be? Who else? That's crazy.
I think for me, so last month we met. I was in a complete fog. I was bogged down with work, bogged down with some personal stuff, and I was just overwhelmed. So when I came here last time, I was in just a complete daze. I was just like, as a robot, just going through, my daily actions. And I was my goal was to incorporate, meditating, especially like, when I found myself like at those moments in my life. Did not do it. Have not been doing it. I realized that maybe it's the winter time. I realize it has to probably do with that, because I'm very active in the summertime, in the fall time, in the springtime. I like to be outside. I like to be on my bike. I like to be out the house. I like to plan and all the other stuff. So I realized, like, okay, now I got to find something during the winter season where I can kind of like uplift my mood and find a way to release my stress and anxiety or whatever the case may be. So I rented a Peloton. I have not hopped on that thing, and I'm paying $100 a month. So I'm about to send it back, and I'm about to find something that at least I can like try to get myself into. I think I want to find some type of sport. I want to take up boxing or something. So I think I might look into that. That can replace probably like my meditating or something. But that's gonna be my goal. My goal is to find a new activity now during the winter time. So
nice. That's good.
Yeah, on my end, my goal was to create a sort of a program, a cohort-based program, specifically for men who are in the social impact side of work in their profession.
Right.
And as someone who's in it, I'd say one of the reasons why it was important to me was because, especially for Black, there are just very few men that I meet on a day-to-day in my line of work in social impact. And this is my 15th year doing it, and it's starting to wear on me. Because anytime you get a bunch of people together, they're gonna create a culture. And one of the reasons why I was looking out specifically for more men in the social impact space is because when women are together, they have a culture. They may not see that, they may not say that, but there is a culture. Just like in construction, there's a bunch of dudes, they got a culture. Finance bros, they got a culture. Tech bros, they got a culture. Social impact and women, there's a culture. And so my goal was to be inside this space, where I was able to bring folks together. The goal originally was to create a full-on program, big cohort, all of this stuff. Well, y'all know what happened, man. I lost, multiple friends. 2 of my mentees got shot. Lost my stepdad. Auntie died from cancer. Ended up in Palestine and the West Bank when the October 7th war broke out. Like, I was getting rocked this year. I got rocked this year. But what I switched it to is now something that's live, The Unsaid. So I launched a vodcast with 3 other brothers who are in the social impact space. We go live on Instagram, and we talk about what is unsaid as Black men specifically every week. We've got it there, we've got it live on YouTube. We've been getting a really nice, consistent following, a couple hundred people each time they tune in. Usually we get up around like 900 views, but the cooler thing is the comments, the comment section where people start talking back with us and reflecting on what we're saying. And the fact that I've been able to grow a friendship with these 3 other brothers. You know, when my aunt passed, you know, Jamal comes to my crib with, you know, he got a newborn baby in tow. He's like, I'm still gonna check on you, bro. Like, he came over with some chicken. We just sitting out on my patio, man. He's just like letting me cry it out. You know, when I got back from Tel Aviv and the West Bank, you know, Dion first things called me up. Hey, FaceTime. I don't want to hear your voice, boy. Pick it up. Pick it up. I want to see you. You know, I got these brothers chasing me down now, and it's been. I didn't intend to have it be so beneficial to me. I intended to make a space for other guys, but it's just been real dope because even though it's not 25, 30 people, it's 4 of us. It's like super impactful, and now it's like an integral part of my life.
I love it.
That's so cool.
That's good.
Excellent.
The pivot is important.
Yeah.
So the goal I had was around podcasts.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And so my excuse my voice a little bit, my back end of my years has been really busy and really just chaotic in a lot of ways. And so I decided to take a reset for a moment. I've had some conversations that have gone well. That's all good. But I was like, I just got to focus more on my mental and emotional health and also physical. And so, you know, joined the gym, doing that, which is really good. And then I stopped drinking, which is the other thing.
Wow. Okay.
Didn't have a issue per se, but I'm at events a lot. It's happy hour central like every day. Because I go to my work events, I go out a lot of times. It's like
Holiday
parties, galas,
yeah.
events, you know, whatever. And so it's been really helping me kind of reset a little bit because part of it's just like, man, it's just a heaviness and almost like a responsibility. Somebody says something wrong. I said nothing's wrong. I just wanted to like take a break, you know, just chill out for a moment. It's like, you know, everything ought to be wrong, but it's an interesting culture when it comes to that too.
Yeah, to your point, drinking is so much a part of the culture. You stop, people are worried about you.
Yeah, it's like, you know, they're doing like a health and wellness. It's like, I'm good. I just want to, you know, so that's been good, and it's just really, really good to get me refocused to come into 24 because I still have that podcast. One of my guys and I are meeting in January, so it's going well. But I had to do some stuff for me first to get where I need to go.
Yeah, beautiful. Benji.
Yeah, I'm really excited about what's coming through the pipelines. I think last time I didn't have much of an update, but my goal was to produce a staged reading, right? And as I started really thinking about what script are we going to use, I naturally start kind of leaning toward scripts that I'm very familiar with and that have heavy like female roles. And I'm like, okay, trying to challenge myself a little bit, and we know how I feel about like men in spaces, right? Or all men in spaces. And so I challenged myself to really try and think about the journey that we've been on here. And I chose a script that is so beautifully written with movement and music and verse and lyric and storytelling. And it's a story of 6 black men who come together for a therapy session.
Oh, wow.
And, and their imaginations just run wild, like it goes nuts. And it's such a beautiful, there's such a beautiful threshold where they're addressing their traumas and they're talking about like their childhoods and things of that nature. And the playwright does a really good job of using their experiences to pretty much cause conflict among the 6, but then they lean into each other to survive. And a lot of the topics and a lot of the things that we've covered over the past few months and that we'll cover in the future are present in that piece. And I think something that makes me even more excited about it is that I have partnered with CAN TV to televise this project.
Oh, that's dope.
And so we'll be working together on its full production. And so we're hoping to see something by the spring.
Yeah.
But the story that's in that piece, and I don't know if I can say like the name of it or if I can name the playwright, but the playwright's name, there are some things we still have to work out on the back end, but the play that we are hoping to do is called For Colored Boys Who Considered Suicide When the Hue Gets Too Heavy. And it's a fairly new production by Ryan Cameron.
Okay.
And of course it is inspired by Ntozake Shange's For Colored Girls. And the script is just so beautiful and vulnerable and powerful at the same time, and I'm really excited to attack it. And the challenge for me is I am intentionally stepping into a cast of all men. And so I'm excited to take that on.
Fantastic. No, we can't wait to see it. Cool.
At Goodwill, we transform lives through the power of work. We believe work is at the heart of human potential. Through a bold mission of connecting people to work, preparing people for life, Goodwill Industries of Southeastern Wisconsin and metropolitan Chicago is creating meaningful impact in the communities where we live, work, and serve. By eliminating barriers, we are making fulfilling work available to all so that individuals and communities can thrive. Go to goodwillsew.com to learn how to have the power to support our mission.
Hi, I'm Dr. Candace Norcott. On this season of Be Well, we'll explore issues of emotional and mental well-being, centering Black women and men in an honest, engaging, and relatable way. From navigating generational trauma and microaggressions to managing stress in relationships. Join the conversation on CAN TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Elevated conversation and storytelling. Experience the power of community television.
Our topic today is how do Black men express emotions? I'm sure we've all heard the phrase, real men don't cry, but contrary to what we might have been told via the words and actions of our family and friends growing up, a good cry might just be what the doctor ordered. Black men experience a number of health disparities and lower life expectancy, largely due to generational traumas and institutional racism, which impacts individual decisions we make about diet, stress relief, and emotional regulation. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, only 6% of Black men report daily feelings of anxiety or depression, but perhaps men express emotions in ways that aren't accurately measured by the scales they use. 26% of Black men with anxiety or depression use mental health services compared to 45% of white men, but perhaps there are barriers to access and relevance of services that must be considered. And does it make sense for us to still compare ourselves to white men as the standard? According to the American Psychiatric Association, a common myth is that boys and men of color often suffer in silence by choosing to bottle up their emotions, when in fact, on some occasions, men do willingly hold in their emotions. Too often, when men do express their emotions, healthcare providers, employers, law enforcement, and sometimes our intimate partners misidentify men's emotions entirely. A 2012 study found that there are 3 barriers that prevent help seeking among boys and men of color. 1, the individual level, isolation. 2, the social level, interaction with others. And 3, the community level, negative beliefs about mental health care. To better engage boys and men of color in mental health services, researchers argue that there must be interventions at all levels to help motivate them to seek help when needed. Also, we must be creative about the types of help to seek. With the shortage of providers, we must create accessible opportunities for men to gather, be honest, and support each other in ways that are consistent with our cultural needs. But what does that look like? Where should it happen? What types of expertise is necessary to have in those rooms? How do Black men express emotions? What are the appropriate moments to subdue emotional expression? How can we create more safe opportunities to encourage men to express the full range of human emotions? Brothers, lots to talk about. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start here. We've talked about fathers before. I'm curious to know, if you think about your primary caregivers, the influential men in your life, grandfathers, fathers, whoever was the men that you looked up to, I'm curious to know if y'all can think of moments that you saw them cry or be emotional in any other way besides anger. What stands out to you and what you saw modeled as what men do about emotional expression in your house?
From a hip hop perspective,
Okay.
one of the cuts from the Ghetto Boy, I think it was Scarface,
Yeah.
when he says, never seen a man cry till he saw a man die. So I've been around a lot of influential men, from Jesse Jackson to Farrakhan to y'all.
Yeah.
If I was to run into you at a funeral where a loved one had died, you'll see the emotions come out of them where you may not see, because just like myself, when my brother, got killed,
Yeah.
you realize that you're remembering a whole lot of things, so you're not caring about who's around you. Okay, you'll grab your eyes, and then your eyes are turning to, then you make that old face where you really don't care, because y'all don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
Because I remember the last time we were together and what we talked about doing in the future. So, like when Farrakhan's son died, the second son that I know died, you can see the pain with the strength within him. But could you imagine how he felt and how he let himself go when he with his wife, the mother of that child?
Yeah.
Or when you see your partner, his child may have got killed, and you can see the pain that's within him that he got to release, but he can only release it with his wife, because he understands that his tears and the noise he may make will not be as loud as hers. So a lot of all of us here has had that moment where we just give within ourselves, because sometimes an individual will take your pain and try to make it your weakness.
No, that's real. So only at funerals is what I'm hearing so far. Death is the only time, right? Anybody else have different experiences where you saw men express the range of emotions?
I'm with Gator. I'm thinking about all the men that have been in my life and really digging back my memory bank, and majority of the time I seen men cry had been in funerals. I think that's the only time I seen my father cry was when his brother died.
Yeah.
I seen him angry, but I've never seen him cry and be just vulnerable. And I also see men cry in church when praising God and during worship. Those are like my only two memories I really have of men really crying during those
What about
moments.
joy? You ever say your father giddy with joy?
I have when he was with his brothers. Yeah, I seen him with joy. Yeah, so I seen joy.
Okay.
But that piece of being vulnerable and being able to cry and express yourself in sadness or whatever the case may be, I have not. Yeah.
Since you mentioned joy, because my father passed when I was 7, so I only have a very short time in memory. But I can remember the joyous moments when it was around my mother, or how I treated my mother, how my mother felt. It's interesting, I never saw or ever saw my father cry in 7 years,
Yeah.
So I think that's, I don't know, I just thought about that. I was like, I never really saw him cry until we cried, interestingly enough, at his funeral when he passed away. Like, I seen my friends cry and stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing I do remember you talking about crying was a friend of mine was we probably in like our early 20s, and he had been in a relationship. He came to me and said, his girlfriend broke up because his father couldn't accept me. Why can't people accept me for who I am? And just was really distraught about it.
Yeah.
That's the first time I really saw somebody cry to that extent. 'Cause I've been around women most of my life, so it's just a different feel, versus what I was used to. And I thought it's probably the first time I may have saw somebody to that extent do it, versus what I was used to when I was growing up.
Yeah. Xavier mentioned crying very casually as you were talking about your goals. You just said it like it was nothing. Is that do you work? Is that a new version of you that can do it and be so openly expressive and comfortable about sharing that with a group of men?
It's seasons of my life where there may be more tears.
Yeah.
I'm in a season now where there's a lot more tears. The last 365 days, bruh, that pillow. Like it's just been hard. But again, it's burying 8 people.
Right.
Right. Like it hurts.
Yeah.
When I got back, from the Middle East, I cried every morning. Just from having some breathing space. Like you were there, man. Like having some breathing space to process not only what we had seen in, when the rocket started, when Hamas started firing the rockets, and it's just a terror that you feel. Like, I'm not used to the feeling of terror.
Yeah.
I've been scared before. But also terror for others. And like I remember even being downstairs in the bomb shelter. We got into the airport. We get downstairs and I'm looking around, everybody's screaming, it's just kids, it's women, elders, everybody's just sheltering down. I remember just standing there and just like tearing up and having to go through this calculus in my mind of, you just spent the last however long it took to get in there trying to make sure everybody was off this bus. The bus was secure. You ran back. You got locked in the bus. You felt that sense of helplessness. You break the emergency exit. You get out the bus. You run. Everybody's down there. You find they down there, and everybody scream. Like it's just and I was like, and not one tear fell. Yeah. Not one.
Yeah.
But they were there.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is the challenge of the way in which, it's interesting we're talking about like, when did you see men cry? And I think one of the challenges is that in the rite of passage and then lifetime of proving that you are worth being called a man, tears are the evidence of your lack of readiness to be a man for everybody else.
Yeah.
Like tears are just evidence that you ain't got it. You ain't got it. You can't help. You can't protect. You can't give. You can't serve. You can't speak. Because now you're overcome by this thing. And if you take time for that, you can't execute on the only reason you should exist. Not declaratively like that's the only reason I should exist, but I'm just saying like that is the world that I've grown up in that I definitely feel. And I think, when I go back to the men in my life, black men, I have not seen cry that much. White men, I've seen cry quite a bit. I've been in the social impact space, and the men that are there in leadership are usually white men. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to get close to and be in the confidence of many, many races of men. And we do emote differently, and we also have different permissions for emoting. And we emote in different places when we do let it out. I've seen executive directors cry, when I went to Larry's funeral. I was thinking about, I went to my mentee's funeral, man, some dude just put a bullet in his stomach right around the corner from the youth center. I was with him for 10 years doing, just making sure he made it. So when I was at his funeral in July, I was looking at even that, like most of the men, we were just all in the back. And that's like I go to a lot of funerals, all the men just be standing in the back. The young men, the old men, we just be standing in the back. The women be all up in the front. They are crying. They are able to release. And we are standing in the back, making sure everything's taken care of. If somebody break down too much, we gonna escort them out. Even there. So I think one of the things for me is just when it comes to tears, whether it be my father, I only remember one time when he cried, and that was when he felt I was playing games with my mom to get him in trouble. Like, like kids would play one parent against the other. And he was very clear. He was like, "Don't you ever play my wife against me." And he started crying.
Oh, wow.
Like, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is serious." Like, I didn't know I did that. Like, I didn't know it was like that. So,
but the way you describe the men in the back of a funeral, especially here in Chicago, where a funeral should pop off.
And that was it. A lot of them was out front too.
Yeah,
they had a
yeah.
5-0 car
Yeah.
right outside,
Right.
making sure because it was a you know, it might be some retaliation.
Right.
Like,
I'm
we all
just curious
protect
about the
us.
function of that. Is that something that we should embrace? Is that something we should be encouraging of ourselves? You describe a moment on the bus when they showed the video of you helping people get on and off, and they said you looked very calm. But you said, and beneath the calm, just like you, there's a world of terror. But then we sort of practice not showing it to keep things together, so that, and I think that it's beautiful that you can describe going back to the pillow and crying. But is there something useful about us practicing and being prepared to be able to protect, hold it together for at least those moments? Right, because I don't know that the alternative is better, that we fall apart.
But I don't think that has to be that characteristic. I don't think it has to be gendered, right? I don't think it's just a man's role to do that. I think any human being can develop the capacity to manage those moments, if you will. Like,
sure.
But what I appreciate about what Xavier's saying is that you have to give yourself permission at some point to release what our bodies need to release.
Yeah.
When I think about my upbringing, very similar to everyone else. Like, first of all, we were told not to cry. You know, that whole point, like, you know, like, you know, man up, right?
Man up.
I gave you some of that, like, you know. And then witnessing, you know, at for my father at my grandmother's funeral, I remember the moment where he allowed himself to cry, but he was fighting it so much. Right? It was like, get it together, right? Yeah. What I've appreciated as I've grown up and aged is that I do feel that black men, have given themselves permission to be more expressive, not just at the funeral.
Right.
I mean, I think about, this is gonna sound so paradoxical, a paradox, right? It's sort of or contrary to what we're saying. I played football in high school, and we had a really good football team in Ohio, the best football state in the country, by the way.
I know a lot of people on good football teams that never actually hit the field. Were you on the field? Did you play, or were you getting on? You just keeping that bench?
I was fully loaded. But I think about it. I'm thinking about this. The emotion of playing high level football or the high school in this context, people would cry, and it was, and you had permission in that space. Like, it was almost like going to war, right? And people use all those type of metaphors. But now I'm just thinking back, because when Gator was talking about funerals, I was thinking, what other? There had to be other times, and I immediately went back to that moment where before a state championship game, like, you're full of emotion, you're loud. This is back in like 1988, 89, right? You're allowed to, like, embrace one another, hold each other, like in a way that in other environments we weren't. At least for me, you just didn't have those permissions, right? To be that vulnerable and that open.
Yeah.
Now, of course, then you would go out and you would play, right? And it would be amazingly intense and violent. But as I've aged, I think for me, giving myself the permissions that I probably should have been given my entire life didn't really come until I had children. And it just, I think, allowing myself to be a parent that had sort of just deep emotional connection to my boys.
Were you deliberate about them seeing you emotional?
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I planned
would they
it.
Would they say, I've seen my father cry, I've seen my father rejoice, I've seen my father afraid?
I think
Fear is hard for me, so fear is tricky.
It's tricky.
Right? Particularly for
I would
children.
love to. I'm gonna ask them this question, but they've definitely seen me cry.
Yeah.
I think they've gotten embarrassed by it. Like, even my kid, who I just dropped off at Howard.
Yeah.
I think he was just like, okay. You know, he kind of gave me that look, but I think it was just like being embarrassed as an 18-year-old, like his parents. But but again, I don't think.
You cried in that moment when you like drove away, like
Oh yeah,
leaving him? Oh,
yeah.
right.
You know, people always like, oh, you know, his mom is going to lose us. I lost it too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it with all the boys, right? You know, moments where you see them and you see them so happy and you're just so pleased with it, and sometimes you're scared to death about their futures, and you just feel so insecure and like out of control, and living in Chicago with 3 black boys. Like, there are times I've had deep anxiety.
Yeah.
And I've allowed that anxiety to manifest, like whether it's crying, whether it's screaming, whether it's, you know, banging my fist on the wall, right?
But I'm still the utility of that in those moments. I wonder what happens if a child sees their father falling apart, or they perceive of, and then that makes them nervous, versus the responsibility we have to hold it together as a part of the creating the safety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I went through a bad breakup, and my family and I are very close. And my little nephews were there, my little cousins, and I was telling them, you know, what happened during the breakup, and I let myself like full on just cry. And it's so funny because one of my nephews came up to me. He was like, "Uncle Reggie, you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." He was like, "It's okay to cry," and that just made me smile because I knew I was able to be vulnerable, but also I had to allow myself, because I knew they was in the room watching. But I want them to know, like, it's okay. Like we get our heart hurt sometimes, and it's okay to be sad. And it was kind of a teaching moment for me too, and it felt good. So yeah.
See, I think that's important. I don't think I was taught this, but it's okay to feel like you've been broken and express that. But what I've tried to do, and I didn't think about it this way when I'm doing it, was to demonstrate what it takes to sort of like recover.
That's right. That's
or
good.
heal.
Yeah.
Or repair yourself, right? And the seeing that cycle.
Yeah.
I think with my father, and this is gonna sound like a harsh critique of my dad, but I saw my dad hurt, and in particular, the thing about drinking. My dad drank a lot, but I never was able to bear witness to like how he tried to build himself up, right? You know, that's the whole. You know, he's no longer with us, and so I never saw the other side of that. Just you know, the drinking was basically to me the way he would just let go, like he would escape. But I never saw those moments where, and I'm sure he had them, because he was a really thoughtful person and was an amazing person. But we never talked about how he would come out of those moments when he would like sober up and get him somehow muster the energy to put that uniform back. You know, he worked in the steel mills, but put the blue collar uniform on, the boots with the steel toe, and do all of the stuff he had to do and go to work. He somehow did it. But we didn't witness. We just sort of witnessed the guy who was drunk, right? We didn't witness what he would go through to actually stand back up and muster the energy to do all the positive things that he did. That was blind to us. Like we didn't have any sight lines. I didn't have any sight lines into that. But and I wish I had it. I wish we had talked about it, because I think I would have been better prepared for the moments I felt crushed. You know, when I got to college, you know, I felt crushed, amazing crushed, but I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't feel like I had permission to talk about it.
I wonder if we're in a different time though, where we can see brokenness and we can see those things being modeled. Because I feel like I'm only 42 coming up. In the last 10 years, at least of my life or so, I've seen it much more modeled and behaviored, at least in my circle, in my circumstances, around my people, where, you know, people are showing brokenness and feeling much more vulnerable than ever before. Because when I was growing up, never saw it, you know. Was taught to be tough, you had to suck it up. You had to do what you had to do. Never saw that. But now, maybe it's social media, maybe it's just the culture we're in, maybe it's the culture of acceptance. I see it much more and more, you know. I see it modeled in a much more different way.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's time and space that we're seeing that.
Yeah.
If we're getting permission to do it than we once were.
Time, space, and class also.
Yeah.
So, because we're also seeing an increase of addictions. These young people popping pills like crazy, and that connection between the numbing of emotions and then the not having the permission, I think is a weird, dangerous moment for that too.
One of the things, I was like just what you were saying.
Yeah.
We was raised that, no, you don't cry. You gonna find a corner and you cry.
Yeah.
But here recently, behind, like you said, you see so many things, like where y'all was at. He didn't really fully grab his sponge, he called it a pillow, till he got home and realized the terror that an individual was under.
Yeah.
I find myself crying just thinking about the times when I should have cried and didn't.
Oh wow. That's good.
When mother died, I held it up, tightened it up. But the one thing that I love is the fact that when I was vulnerable, my sons was right there to say, hey, Dad, it's all right. You know what I mean? Take you off of there, let me hear what's happening.
That's good.
And with that, it made it easy for them if the time come where they have to cry, because it's an emotion. You got to find release
Yeah.
through the tears
Yeah.
to release stress.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of stress.
Absolutely. Anybody had the alternative experience where you were emotional or vulnerable and got clowned for it or lost something for it? Or
Man,
I mean, my pops, man, I remember that's when I made a decision when I was like probably 14, I think, and he was gone within 4 years of that. You know, I had one moment where I was like, man, I'm hurting right now. I was really going through, like, I remember just going through some stuff. And one of the challenges is when you know, a lot of people just think kids it's just, you think it's the end of the world, everything the end of the world, you know. And, you know, my fam was not one that I think had a level of emotional literacy or awareness about what emotions were. Like emotions are a form of intelligence. They're a form of knowledge. They are they point to symptoms of something that the body is regulating.
That's right.
Tears are evidence of a stress release hormone. Like these sorts of things, like we ain't know none of that. So if you crying, you weak. And I remember one time I tested my pops. I tested him, and I knew I was gonna test him.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was down, and he hadn't really asked one question in months, and I was actually going through what I know now would have been had I had a therapist or I never went to a hospital until I was out of college.
Yeah.
Had I actually had a pediatrician or anything, he probably would have said that was clinical depression that I was going through. Now knowing what I know.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was just, hey man, get them grades right. Like, what you doing? Like, why you always moping around the house? Always moping around the house. You're so sad and scared. I remember one time my mom got so fed up. She was like, just kill yourself then.
Oh shit.
And I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Like that hurt.
Yeah.
You know, like she and I had to talk about that.
Yeah.
About a year or two ago. But I went to my pops. I remember he was on the front porch. And I just sat down next to him. He was on a chair. We used to always keep the windows open when it rained and all of that kind of stuff. Just look out. He was always out there usually with a beer and a smoke. And I just went to him and tried to like talk. I was like, man, you know, I'm just feeling this and feeling that. And once just talking, you know, just wondering, you know, I don't know what to do. And all of this. And he looked at me, he just started laughing.
Oh shit.
He just started laughing.
Yeah.
He's like, boy, if you don't stop all that whining. I just been like, whew, just massive deflation, just massive deflation. Nowhere to put any of that energy until I left.
Yeah.
You know, no real receptacle. My mom was dope. She was awesome with it.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, she was learning. You know, my brothers had learned from them, and especially from my dad. And my older brothers who were long gone out of the house, you know, one of them was a cop. He rough you up, you know, he was loving, but you know, my other brothers were same thing. Everybody's just beating up boys. That was mostly it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get tough. And plus we was in Lawndale, man. Like nobody, the thing is they make, you know, black boys, I think that I was raised, and people supported this type of raising for me as a black boy.
Yeah.
It's better that family hits you harder than the streets ever would.
Yeah.
So that they can prepare you for that.
Yeah.
And I fought that for years, and had terrible relationships with a lot of my brothers and the people around me because I was like, y'all, I'm never gonna fight those people.
Yeah.
I'm not that. And I knew that I was gonna use my voice one day. I knew that I was a poet. I knew that I liked musical theater. I knew that I liked all these other things, but they had no comprehension of black boys doing that. And that definitely would only get you more beat up, more stomped out. And I did get beat up and stomped out and robbed and all types of stuff. But I think they were afraid that it would cost me my life to be different or to be emotional.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of people who it has cost them their lives.
Hold on real quick. When Benji's quiet, it always makes me so much it brings more attention to you when you're quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It made me wonder, and this is for both of y'all, 'cause my experience has been as a heterosexual black man. Yeah. And I've been curious about whether or not gay black men have more room, if there's more of a space to express more emotional, I don't know, range, or if it's consistent. If what we're talking about is the same thing, is it the same thing in your experiences, in your relationships? And
I mean, in my experience, I think that they are similar. I've never seen my father cry.
Yeah.
I don't really cry. I think that control is a really huge factor. And I was taught just young, and especially like young in my career, I had a few different mentors, and one told me that that crying was just inappropriate, right? Because when you cry, you lose credibility. Like people don't respect you when you cry. Yeah. Because now now it's assumed that you're operating from a place of emotion rather than logic. And so I think for me, I take that experience and I take all of my other experiences, and I just I don't really know how to cry. I should say, like that's not something I really know how to tap into. I think I've only ever cried. I cried on my wedding day, and I cry when I'm pissed, and it takes a lot to get me like that upset because. Again, I like to think I'm pretty well controlled. Daniel mentioned just the experience like with his sons. That's one of the very reasons I struggle with, I don't think I want children, because that's one thing I cannot control, right? Like when they get to a certain age and they get to a certain point in their lives, that's not something I can control. And so I think that my tears, I didn't have them when my mom passed a couple of months ago. And again, that was a time where we needed logical, like we needed reasonable people making decisions. And that was really just a testament to everything, I think, in my life. And so.
Did it come up and you stuffed it or numbed it or distracted yourself, or did it not even come up?
I don't know. If it came up, I don't know it was there. And so I'm not sure if it came up at all. So for me, the experiences are similar. I think that gay men, in my experience as a gay man, more people expect me to cry than they would like a heterosexual counterpart.
Do you feel like you are working harder to hold it in because of the expectation?
Possibly. I don't know. I've never explored it. I never explored it. Could be. I mean, I think that people already view me this is my perception of other people. I think people, you walk into the room and I think people already see me as sweet, soft, sugar in the tank, sissy, feminine, like, so all of those different things. And I think one of the strongest areas of my life has been intellect. It has been,
Interesting.
I can navigate various situations, right? And I think that has always been my strength, and I hesitate to say strength. I think it has always been my protection, is being able to navigate life, or being able to navigate at work, so that way, whatever I'm assuming people are thinking or saying about me is automatically rebutted, or like it automatically ends when I'm able to show up and show out in these other ways.
Protection stands out to me. We're going to wrap soon, but I'm curious about what safety looks like. What is it? What are the conditions that y'all feel are better to allow for the most authentic versions of emotional expressions? What can your partners do, your families do, your friends do to make it a safe space? And then how do we create that? How do we create more safe spaces? Comfort? Yeah.
Comfort. You know what, like I was explaining about my son. They didn't want nobody to say, hey, don't think my dad weak. You know, don't forget from where he came. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things he's showing us how to be strong.
Yeah.
The comfort.
Yeah.
Dad, let it out. Because if it's pent in, someone can say something out of whack and you forget logic.
Yeah.
I know we all been in that, you explode. We all been in that situation where you don't know where this crazy strength came from, where, hey, break all the glasses. Who wants a drink? You know what I mean? So, comfort.
Yeah, right, that's right.
I would agree. No, I would agree with that. We need, particularly men among men, need opportunities to create deeper bonds, similar to what Xavier was saying about the project you're working on with the other brothers in the social impact space. Like, can we create space that is trustful, that's affectionate, and I'm using that word intentionally, like where we can be graceful and loving to one another. And this is probably the most sort of open conversation I've had with men, in my lifetime. I was watching, I was with a bunch of good guys watching football. We talk about football. And these are folks, they were all very well educated, college graduates, professionals. We don't talk about things like this. And if we do it, you just hint at it. Somebody's going through a divorce, or they're worried about their kid, or something's going on at work. Because I think Benji hit the nail on the head. I think we're all in a situation where we have to be seen as in control. Like, we got this, But quite frankly, in order to truly get whatever you're trying to get, you need help. And we should be willing to open ourselves up to that help. And in many cases, it is emotional support.
I love it. I think we have to wrap on that, actually.
The only thing I want to mention, I think therapy could be that space to do so.
Yeah.
If you're present enough to firstly be able to accept that. Because you got to be willing to go there first. Like, I've had willingness, and I'm in therapy now, which is great. I think you need to have tools, because we don't have sometimes the right words, how to express it, how to unpack things, traumas, and things that could have went on in our lives. So I think it's very important to get to that support and to that help. Sometimes you really need to learn what you just don't know. And therapy is a space to do that, and it could be a safe space as well.
Love it, love it, love it.
At Goodwill, we transform lives through the power of work. We believe work is at the heart of human potential. Through a bold mission of connecting people to work, preparing people for life, Goodwill Industries of southeastern Wisconsin and metropolitan Chicago is creating meaningful impact in the communities where we live, work, and serve. By eliminating barriers, we are making fulfilling work available to all so that individuals and communities can thrive. Go to goodwillsew.com to learn how to have the power to support our mission.
Welcome to Presente, a public affairs program elevating the voices and visibility of matters most important to the Hispanic Latino community, spotlighting leaders who are actively implementing solutions and fostering community-led responses to the issues in their local community. Join us weekly via Channel 19, streaming on cantv.org and the CanTV Plus app. Elevated conversation and storytelling, experience the power of community television.
All right, our time is up. Again, appreciate this conversation. It's unique too, for me, just to have such an open, honest conversation, certainly with cameras around, right? I just really appreciate y'all openness and y'all vulnerability in this moment to redefine strength, not to be strong sometimes and then weak when we're emotional, but to have the emotional be the strength and that be the power, and then tap into the wisdom of the bodies and just trying to alert us to what we need to do and how to adjust. So I think this is very useful. I think people will get a lot out of this. So I just want to thank y'all for being willing to go there.
Thank you.
No, it's good. And once again, our time together has come to a close too quickly, fortunately. We're coming back to this circle next month for another hour together in conversation and community. For those of you watching at home or work or from your favorite park bench, thank you for taking this journey with us. It is our hope that together we can support and encourage one another to give ourselves and each other the space and the grace to be and to feel with the freedom we deserve and to be and to feel. The physical and emotional well-being of Black men doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves, but together we're committed to doing our part to change that. Thank you for stepping into this space with an open mind and an open heart and a commitment to creating space for brothers to talk, to share, and to learn more about themselves and each other. Until next time, I'm Dr. Obari Cartman, and good night.